Hello and welcome to the Solo Digital Agency Owners Podcast. My name is Anthony. Hello and welcome to episode 6. My name is Anthony Pritchard. I'm here as is normal with your co-host, Paritosh Pareek.
Hello, everyone.
Our
I hope
subjects,
you. I hope that everyone had a great Thanksgiving.
this is a really good holiday in the United States. Everybody always gets together and has a big feast.
Mm-hmm.
To continue our update on the State of the Union, World Cup soccer is happening. That only happens once every 4 years. Um, Inflation is down. People are spending. It is the holiday season, and yeah, it's time to feast.
Awesome. I think, as far as I know, Anthony, he is probably more excited about the World Cup. I know he is happy about the Thanksgiving for sure, but he is slightly more happy about the World Cup than Thanksgiving.
Yeah. You know me.
I think
I've got this background, as a soccer coach and many other things. But today's about you, my friend. Today, you are giving us a presentation on feast and famine. We skipped last week, so today is November 27th, and you're on deck.
Thank you so much, Anthony, for introducing that and giving us a review to all our viewers that what all we have covered so far. If you can, yeah, so we have covered some good number of topics which are pretty much needed for everybody to know, right? For example, as you can see on the screen, right? And today we'll be covering up a feast and famine, right? When I say covering up, it's a wrong statement because nobody can actually cover it up. But the fact is that we'll just try to add our 2 cents on it, what
Yeah.
we have done, what we recommend you to do, and how we can go about it. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Let's get going. So, feast and famine. I think you don't have to be a digital agency owner, right, in order to understand what probably this topic is about, right? You can be an individual contributor, you can be uh, any kind of a business owner, right? You can be a beginner in anything, and you'll understand. For example, forget about everything else. Let's say you got a job, right in your youth at the very beginning, and you spend all your salary probably after within 2 days once you get it, and the rest of the month is famine. So it kind of depicts exactly what you're thinking it is, that having a feast for a couple of days and then famine for the rest of the month is exactly what we're talking about. And in a longer term sense, so people from the business background, from the entrepreneurship background, they can relate is that while they are working on one thing, they don't get a chance to develop the pipeline, and because of that, they have a famine the very next month. So let's get going. Anthony, can you share the presentation, please? Awesome. Thank you. So, we'll keep it simple. We are having just the two agendas. First, to understand what is feast and famine, and another one is that how to break out of this terrible cycle. One can have, because feast and famine cycle, it has very bad repercussions on mental health, on your mental well-being, on your health, on your life, on your work-life balance, on everything, right? Even your personal life to a good amount of level. So I think let's get going. So as you can see that this kind of depicts exactly what we're talking about. That for when we landed a big project, let's say we landed this month a project worth, let's say, $15,000, right? So obviously we know as an agency owner that what our profits will look like, right? So we will be having a feast, spending on stuff that we've been waiting on, right? Buying irrelevant and unnecessary things that we don't need because now we have money, right? As any other spender in United States or rest of the world, right? So that's the feast that we are having, which basically leads us to famine, right? Because we didn't thought it through. We just got the money, we got emotional, and we spent it, right? No, this podcast is not going to be talk about savings, the power of compounding, or any of that stuff. Probably you all know that better than me, right? This is going to just about the feast and famine, as I said. So let me give you a scenario of feast and famine. I was prospecting, outreaching, talking to a lot of people, attending a lot of events just to get going, right? Just to get my next gig, next project for the company, next project just for myself as an individual. And then I landed it, right? And once I landed it, obviously we all thrive to be known for our deliverables, right? And in order to deliver the more than perfect deliverables, we need to be all in to that project, right? And that is not wrong, that is absolutely right. You have to do that because it's the deliverables which are going to talk about your work, your quality of work. It is going to be one of the reasons why somebody should hire you in the next project,
They're
right?
going to
But
add to your digital reputation or take away from your reputation.
absolutely, absolutely. So basically, it is absolutely right to do that. But when you do that, since you don't have the right processes, since you don't have the right automations working for you, since you never actually thought about it, since you were so excited that you landed a project, right? And you wanted to deliver it right? That you forgot about the other part, or you basically couldn't do anything about the other part because you were on your own, right? That's when the famine steps in. And once this project is delivered, now since the pipeline is empty, since you were not working, nobody else was working, now you start doing the same stuff, repeating the same stuff that you did for the last project that you just completed again. You go to networking events, you go to different referrals, you go through different outreaching process that you use, and the cycle happens again. Now during this, the problem is there's a basic problem in this world, right? For the people who are struggling, at least with them I can tell you, which is that the first of every month comes after every month. Doesn't matter that whether you got a job, whether you received the payment from the project you did, whether how your prospects are looking, how your pipeline is looking, nobody cares. If you need to pay bills every month, and one of the other worst part is that this month, irrespective of geographies, I don't know about the planets, but yeah, irrespective of geographies on earth, you know it changes every 30 days. So you just have a 30-day window between one bill to another bill, right? And that's when the famine happens, and it hits worse when you're not prepared for it, right? So that's a simple definition of feast and famine that I have gone through. Even sometimes, even today, it happens, right? Because all you can do is be prepared, get yourself prepared, do everything needed, right? But still, this can happen, right? So sometimes it still happens. I'm not going to deny that. But obviously, now things have been a lot better than when I started. So things are way more stable. But I completely understand what exactly feast and famine is, how to go through it, what you as an individual go through when feast and famine is happening, and what are the repercussions. So let's move on to our next agenda, which is how to break out of this feast and famine cycle. Because You have to employ everything that you can to break out this cycle. And I know you have a life you need to enjoy. You only have 24 hours. You're already working in a project, right? So we will be talking about things that won't take up your 24 hours.
I have a suggestion.
Go ahead.
I know what you should do to escape the cycle. You should hire a lazy assistant who takes twice as much time to teach him or her how to do your work for you and then doesn't do it.
Yeah, hire an assistant, teach them to know that they didn't understood it after paying them and spending probably twice the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's certainly one of
Isn't that what everybody thinks you should do?
absolutely right. That's absolutely see. I think you kind of hit a chord with me on this particular topic because I remember a couple of things that has happened to myself when
Yeah.
I tried doing that. Right.
Mhm.
See, we are not saying, and I'm sure even Anthony didn't meant it that way, that VAs are a very important part of an entrepreneur's life or the culture, the working culture, right? They're a very important piece of the puzzle. But depending on them and assuming that they are going to work as hard as you, that is the problem when things or relationships with VAs don't work out. And I am an accuse of that I also assume that now I have explained him or her everything, probably everything, right? So now they are going to work as hard as me, right? They are not the part of the profits unless you have an arrangement, right?
Mhm.
So of something of that sort, right? They don't have the mindset of an entrepreneur, right? They don't have what it needs to do what you are looking for, and they don't have to, right? They don't have to. So that is the reason why sometimes the relationships with VA doesn't work. And I am telling you, most of the time it's entrepreneur's mistake unless VA is really goofing up, right? The expectation setting is a problem. The point of not having the right processes that they can use is one of the reasons. So if a VA relationship is not working, I'll blame the entrepreneur. Being outside the system, I'll still blame the entrepreneur because there is something lacking from their part. Because either they didn't outsource the right piece of the process that they should have outsourced, or they didn't give him the right knowledge. They didn't convey it in a right manner. Anyways, thank you for hitting the wrong chord, Anthony. I appreciate it. All
Yeah,
right.
well, I've seen myself make this mistake. I've seen other people that live close to me make this mistake, and you can't think immediately that you're going to solve all your problems in this cycle by hiring an assistant. I think there's got to be other processes in place, multiple revenue streams, multiple emergency funds set up to provide this cushion of security to make it through the famine. Can't spend everything when you get it.
I mean, on over here, I would really recommend everyone to watch a series on Netflix that I have been watching. I think from last couple of weeks, I've been trying to watch it in chunks. Right, haven't been through it all, but I've heard many good things about it. Whatever I have seen so far, it is good. Right, so there's a theme called the minimalist on Netflix, right? So I would really recommend everyone to go through and don't just look about that, what it is about having the minimum stuff in your house, right? But that series is going to hit you in a right way that why buy four chairs when you can live with two, or why you need just one, right? That is the whole kind of crux behind the whole theory of minimalism or and all that. And minimalism, as we all know, minimalism is the in thing even in the design world, right?
Hmm.
How we used to have those, nobody, I don't think, other than few of the mom and pop stores or the businesses that really need to flash, people hardly use those flash banners or that flash stuff that we used to do in the early or late 90s, even early 2000s, right? And now
Hmm.
we are shifting even our design from the full uh, thorough one design to the minimalistic designs,
Well,
right?
they say people have less stress, less anxiety when they
Yeah,
have fewer things or when they minimalize their belongings.
absolutely. So I would recommend you to go and watch it.
It's a good
I'm
recommendation.
assuming and hoping that that's going to be helpful. I'll try to share the link in the group. I don't know if Netflix allows you to do that. Never actually did that, so I'll try doing that. If that happens, either way, I'll be dropping the name of the series. Just have a look. Either way, over a weekend you can use a couple of good series.
Yeah.
So let's get going. So there are different ways how we are going to do it. We can be mentally prepared, free foot in the door, offer, job search, marketing funnel, referral, portfolio, recurring revenues, right? Let's get going. First and foremost, be mentally prepared, right? Feast and famine is going to happen unless you hit a jackpot, right in the very first way, or probably everything, every aspect of the business. You have appropriate funds to manage your personal life, appropriate funds to invest in your business for 2 years, 3 years, right? Unless that is the case, feast and famine will happen, right? And also, let me tell you that other than being mentally prepared, this is my experience, that it is going to teach you a lot, right? Because when you see a presentation like this, when you hear to a podcast like this, you still don't get to the importance of this topic. You still don't understand that how hard the feast and famine hits, right? You still think that, yep, I've been through. Probably you think that you've been through, you haven't, right? This has happened in a few of the cases that people have consulted, that they were thinking that there is a feast and famine happening, and I talked to them, I confronted them, asked them those hard questions, and they couldn't say no to the fact that they are assuming feast and famine is happening, but it isn't, right? So all I'm trying to say is that it will happen, it does happen, and it teaches you a lot, a lot. See, as there's a saying, what doesn't kill you makes you strong. Did I said that right, Anthony?
Yeah. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Makes you stronger, right? Yeah, I mean, so yeah, first thing, this will happen unless you have a surname of Gates or Bezos, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And trust me, at a different level, at a different figures. For example, we are struggling for probably $500. They might be struggling for 500,000, right? But at some or the other level, it does happen to them as well, right?
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
there is a myth that they guys don't, they have their own problems, right?
Mhm.
Probably ours are a third world problem, theirs are a first world problem, but they do face it, right?
Mhm.
Shortage of funds, shortage of money, money management. This is a problem that probably everyone is facing, unless you are not subscribed to a couple of influencers on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, because as per them, you know I mean, I was going through the feed yesterday, and somebody was telling me, if you have $7 million, let me help you, how I can tell you how you can double it. I said, $7 million, I mean, how you even reach that figure? I need to know somebody who can tell me, how to scale from no dollar to $7 million, not somebody who goes from $7 million to double it. But that's a different sense. No offense to anybody, he or she might be having a different kind of an audience. So, anyways, getting back to our topic. So, be mentally prepared about this thing. This is going to happen. Second thing, most importantly, which hits hard whenever I say this to anyone, is then don't ask why me, whoever you believe in. Don't ask why me, because you didn't ask that question when you got the client. That
Mhm.
why me, why God, why you gave me this job. You never ask that question to God. So you
Mhm.
have no right to ask it when you don't get one, right?
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, I know somebody asked me, so that's why. This thing is not invented by me, right? So
Hmm.
this is all sum of a lot of experience. So that's why I'm telling you that this hits really hard. At least it did to me when I was asked this question. Don't ask why me when you didn't ask it why me when you got the good news, right? So never try to ask it, or in other words, you can say don't try to blame. Figure out the right ways how to get out of it. Blame game, it just never works.
Yeah.
Stop wasting your time on that.
Yeah.
Just keep 1 hour of what makes you happy, whatever it is, whatever it is. For example, to me, it is searching for tools.
Mm.
I search for tools in the industry that I have got nothing to do with. Even if I deviate my business, right? Even right now, in the next 50 years, I am hopefully not going to sell the trekking gear in Nepal, you know, but I love seeing different stuff. So I just do that. And let me tell you, don't feel guilty when you watch or use this 1 hour for yourself, right? Whatever stage of life you are in, right? You can choose the 1 hour a day, you can choose 1 hour a week, you can choose 1 hour a month, however you think is right, because situations are different, scenarios are different. So use it accordingly, but do use 1 hour of what actually makes you happy, right? For example, just roaming around, anything, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
And fourth and most important, keep browsing internet. Internet is the most beautiful thing that has happened to mankind. And worst at the same time, yes, I know that I have two kids as well. So I know that part as well. But I think that, still it is the best thing that has happened to humankind.
And it's
Use it.
full of opportunity.
It is full of opportunities. It is full of knowledge that can lead to opportunities. It is having so much of plethora of opportunities. Obviously, you have 7 billion more people competing for it. But let me tell you that opportunities are more than that. If you're going to do it right, position it right, you're going to get it. So
Hmm.
let's get going. So be mentally prepared. That's
Got
the
it.
first one. Next is have a free or foot in the door or discounted offers, right? Because these are the things that get the conversation. See, you have conversations. I really find this with a lot of people that I talk to, I consult with, who hire me to do such things, that we talk to people and then nothing happens. I have several of Zoom in a month or in a week, but then nothing happens. I ask for this to the person I talk, then nothing happens. Yes, nothing happens because you never conclude the conversation, right? Because when a technical guy starts doing sales, the biggest problem is that they are so fascinated with the nitty gritties of the project, with the nitty gritties of the technical details, that client don't care about. Don't They don't know it, they don't care about it, they don't want to know about it. They just pretend that they know or they want to know about it. The fact is they do not want to know about it, right? So when you get going on those conversations, you get so much deeper in those conversations that you forget to conclude, right? And then you just keep on following up. Any updates? Hey, have you given a thought to my proposal? Can we do this? Can we do that? Right? They things do work. I'm not saying they think those things don't work, but the problem is that they don't work the way they should, or you
Hmm.
expect them to be. So it is better to have a ready offer for whatever you are offering, right? That what best you can do. Obviously, you can start with the cliche offers, the free website audit, or yeah, I think that's what comes to my mind, because
Hmm.
I see a lot of free auditing. And sometimes there are people who send me audits of my website, stating that this is what our team has figured out, and I even know the tools, right? Looking at it, that dude, you didn't even bother. They just took you 65 seconds to took out this report and email me in whichever list I am of yours, right?
Hmm.
So just have a meaningful, a valuable foot in the door offer or discounted offer, you might lose money on these, but still do have it, because you have to understand that there is a customer acquisition cost,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And this free, discounted, or foot in the door offer, even if it is asking you to pay something from your pocket, right? It is still worth it because of two things. First, it will only contribute to your customer acquisition cost. And second, it is going to convert those meaningless or conclusionless conversations that you've been having in bulk, right? So when you talk about sales funnels, how they say it, that sell it even for $1, because make the guy take out, put his hand in his pocket, take out his wallet, take out the card, and put in the card details for $1.
Yes. And as our Facebook user has mentioned here, you get the chance to build a relationship, which is it's really important.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, see, you need to make everyone feel that they are really valued.
Mhm.
They are really valued on what exactly is happening. So I think that's the best thing you can do to yourself and to others. So make these free foot in the door offers, discounted offers, anything, and just make sure that the offers are made or meant in such a way that it makes the other person feel valued, right? Next is job search and outreach. So while you are working on a project, just make sure that you are using different freelancing sites, LinkedIn, Google search. For there are different methods. Feedbin is one of those that you can utilize to go through, and using some search criteria you can keep on getting jobs from Upwork or Guru, Freelancer, Truelancer, LinkedIn Jobs, Google Search. LinkedIn is useful because I often hear this, that we are looking for X, Y, and Z role right now. If that role does exactly what you do, right, then you can at least start those conversations, because even unless it is a really in-house need, you can actually convince people that instead of having an in-house resource doing it, and then figuring out 6 months later that it's not working, or he or she didn't did it right, or you didn't hire it right, it is better to hire somebody from the outside. Having the right process, right contracts in place is going to help them. So you can use LinkedIn for that, and obviously plenty of other things. Google search, and by Google search I mean the real Google search, right? That is going to help you look for the RFP.PDFs. Probably the easiest definition I can talk about, the third point, right? And then figure out a way that once you have the source of opportunities, for example, the freelancing sites, the LinkedIn, the Google search, what part of it can be automated even to get the information from these sources, segregating that information, sorting that information, and then what and how much part of it can be automated, right? And the fifth one is something that I personally love. This is how I have been able to come out of this feast and famine and be where I am right now, is just genuinely help people. Do not spend too much time, I get it, but if you can help people, it will come back. Don't do the help because you wanted to come back, but genuinely help people, it will come back, is what I meant, right? Let's get going. Marketing funnels. So marketing funnels are the only way, I think, that where the complete process can be automated, right, while you're busy. So what I meant when I say that is, so let's say you are running a agency where you do SEO, right? So having a marketing funnel, or about that, uh, running an ad, for example, and sending the not running an ad, whatever organic ways of traffic you can use to send the traffic to the top of your funnel, which says that we are going to give you, click here, provide us your email to get your 25 free backlinks, or just pay $1 to get 25 free backlinks from DA1, DA100, I mean, however that works, however you can make it work, right? and then have those people in your email list. Push those people to your Facebook groups, or whatever you think might be right for nurturing them, right? And then while you're working on this project that you landed, you know it see, either way we all are guilty and accused of using Facebook while working, because sometimes your mind even while working needs rest. At least I do it that way. I'm not sure about everyone, right? So when I'm doing that now, how good it is that if my prospecting is working while I'm using Facebook for those 5 minutes in the break on my current project, right? From the person who went through this marketing funnel and landed onto my Facebook group or my email, or whatever you are using, right? So I think that's one of the best ways you can utilize to do that. Plus, remember, you are getting those emails. You can use those emails for, I'm not an ad expert, but for your custom audience, figuring out the lookalike audience, email outreaches, campaigns, and whatnot, right? So either way, it's a good investment, plus a right way to make money while you are sleeping, or I mean, there are different ways that I have heard regarding this statement. So while you sleep, or while you're busy, or make money work for you, don't work for the money, however that works, right? So marketing funnels is one of the things that you can use.
And this is what we do for our clients. So we should, consume and be practitioners of our own products.
Absolutely. And digital agency owners are lazy when it comes to their own funnels. Let me tell you that. At least I am, right? So get out of your comfort zone, because you need to do this for your own self, not for anybody else,
Mhm.
right? Next is referrals, the best kind of business and the worst kind of business. Okay, so when I say that, what I meant is, when I say worst kind of business, worst kind of business, because you cannot depend upon it. There can be 20 referrals a month. There can be zero referrals for 3 months, right? So that's why the worst part. Best part, this is the best kind of business you get. You don't have to sell, most importantly. Second thing, you don't have to outreach, right? You don't have to provide ton of stuff beforehand, right? Before the client steps in, or before the client actually starts having the conversation. You're not doubtful for whether this is genuine or a spam, right? You don't think that them because of somebody. So these are the most genuine relationships you can have, right? The only problem is that you may get it, you may not get it. So the easiest, super simple, and the best things that has worked for me is, don't be shy. You have done some good work. Unless you haven't, then that's a different case. But I think there are ways to ask for referrals even if you have not done the good work, right? So ask for it. Just simply ask them that, hey, I'm in need of. See, however somebody talks about, however somebody flaunts, talks, says things, the fact is everyone knows people need work, right? We all need work, and you don't know, even the one you are considering that they don't need, even they need, right? So people understand that. Just ask for referrals, simply ask it. But once you get it, this is a very common mistake that happens, that you don't value the referrals that you receive, right? So treat your referral customers as the most VIP customers in your agency, right? Irrespective who they are, because it's not just your name or your money on stake, it's somebody else's name on stake as well, right? So principally it is wrong to not write referrals, unless they are really weird, or probably they are asking for to buy some mountain gear for an Everest expedition from an agency owner. Other unless these both are the cases, treat them as a VIP customers. And even if these two are the cases, still treat them VIP, because somebody still referred somebody to you.
Yeah.
So use that.
Hmm.
And again, I'm going to repeat it, can't say it enough. Just ask for it.
Yeah.
Just ask for it.
Nice. That's a good recommendation.
Next is your portfolio. Portfolio is the most important part as an agency owner, whether it's SEO, whether it's website design, whether it's web applications, whether it's UX, UI, whether it's social media, whether it's conversion ratio optimization, whether it's a support project, maintenance, whatever that is, right? Because people don't understand the jargons, but they understand when you explain it to them, right?
Hmm.
If neither the all the potential customers can be on a Zoom call, nor can you be on all the Zoom calls, right? So there has to be a middle way out where you can just tell them that, when the client came to us, and let me tell you the biggest thing that portfolio or case studies solve. When I am looking for a service, I go to a site and I assume the imposter syndrome that, probably, my problem is not so big. Or maybe, I'm stupid because, I'm unable to figure out this problem. People are dealing at a different level. They are having different big problems, right? That this company is solving. So let's say now I write a case study about for example, a staffing company, right? Where there are 10 management people and probably let's say 100 recruiters. So in my one of my case studies, we're talking about hybrid email solutions because obviously having 110 into $10 per month email solution is going to be expensive for an organization, right? So we need something where they pay the heavy price for the 10 management people and a comparatively lesser price for the recruiters who kind of for some or the other reason keep on changing every 6 months, right? So I mentioned that on the case study. So now, and I got one customer you just because of that case study, because when he came to the site, he never knew that there is a solution regarding hybrid email solutions that existed. But when
Hmm.
he went through the case study, he was like that, you know, I didn't came for this, but this can help me. This can really help me. Trust me, guys, that relationship started with that email consulting, and I'm still working with that guy. And on too many things. He has referred me ton of customers, a lot of stuff that we've been doing together. So please spend time on making case studies. It's important and it's in your own benefit. So
Hmm.
please do a favor to yourself to break
Hmm.
out the feast and famine cycle, make case studies and as detailed as possible.
Hmm.
Moving ahead, this is the last part, guys. This is going to take some time, so that's why I left it for the last. And one of the most important reasons, one of the most important ways how you're going to break the feast and famine cycle, right? I have heard it from plenty of people when in my initial days that why don't you start selling the website care plans, or why don't you get into recurring stuff. I didn't understood it then that how does that work, right? Obviously that was because of my lack of knowledge, because at that time what I was assuming was to update a plugin, what happens, what one has to do, just click a button, it happens. I mean, how am I going to convince the customer that you need to pay me $25 just to do this, right? That's because I didn't had the right piece of knowledge at that point of time, right? Now I know anyone can click that button, right? But now I know what all problems, what all consequences can happen if it just didn't get right, because there are too many dependencies. Anyways, I'm not going to get into the plugin business, but the thing is that you first need to understand before you start recurring revenues, or you can partner with somebody who knows this, right? So recurring revenues are the best possible thing. Just how I see how I call it, people say that the best thing that has ever happened to humankind is compounding, or the power of compounding, right? And I say the next best thing that has happened is the recurring revenue model, right? And it is a simple model, right? I know there are different very complex pricing models that happens. I mean, even on the enterprise projects I see those every day in the pricing, in the software licensing, that how difficult the pricing models can be. But at our level, at what we are dealing with, having these recurring revenues is the biggest savior we all can have, right? So let's say go for the monthly services or retainers. For example, let's say in the SEO retainers, right? When I talk about SEO retainers, let's say it costs around $3,000 a month. I mean, I'm just taking a random figure. So $3,000 a month. Now, let's say you have two customers, right? Now, you did everything that we talked about in the past slides that we've just been coming through. You use all of that, and one more customer happened, or for some reason the ads didn't work, nothing worked, you weren't feeling good, you felt sick. So now, but you're still receiving next month, the $6,000, right? So that is the beauty of recurring revenues. I need not to tell you for that to happen. And I know if you haven't started with recurring revenues, it is going to seem almost impossible to you that how will that happen, right? But again, as I always say, that position yourself correctly. If you're not going to position yourself correctly, even you'll be doomed even post recurring revenues, right? Because you have to position correctly, you have to do the right expectation setting. You cannot give them the whole world for $3,000 or even for $30,000 a month, right? You need to expect, you need to set the right expectation that what will be done in this amount. Don't get scared of the client. You are doing them a favor by doing the right work for them, right? So don't get scared of them. I know when you don't have the money, when the pipeline is empty, you have to say yes to everything that comes your way. Settle for the lesser amount, but don't settle for the expectation setting, is what I'm saying, right? Anthony, does that make sense?
Yeah, you taught me about this about 6 months ago, and it was very interesting for me to learn that having someone tied to a subscription model, or a lower amount of revenue, allows you to create upsell products and services. It allows you to build several of those reoccurring payments from several clients. And it's just a good way to establish a connection that it's not like you have to chase down these payments. They're created through that subscription, so they're automatically deducted every month.
Let me tell you one quick thing. There's a big chunk of my subscription business, right, where I send the invoices manually through
Mm,
email. Now,
mm,
don't I know about Stripe? Don't I know about the different automations that we can use? Of course, I know that. But the reason I deliberately don't use those is because I want to hand over the invoice every month personally,
mm,
so that I get into the office. I need, I mean, obviously through email or Zoom call, but I want to do it in person, so that I can talk to the Tom or Anne
mhm,
again every month. I can be in front of them, right? Have a cup of coffee, and then just say, "Hey, how's everything else? How's Steve? How's Laura?" Right? And then just talk about it. And then what happens is that you just don't get out of their memories, right? Newsletters aren't the only way. If you're something like me, newsletter is not your thing, or you don't have too many updates to send to them, right? Then this is the best way to keep engaged with your existing customers. Don't underestimate the power of your existing customers, guys. I cannot lay enough stress on that. Anyways, so yeah, monthly services and retainers is one. Second is affiliates. Help people, tell them that what they need, you have a solution, and you're going to send them an affiliate link. Don't dupe them, right? Just tell them upfront, this is an affiliate link. When you pay $100, I make $10, but either way, whether you use this link or not, you will be paying $100, right? So if you use this just as a gesture to pay me something back in turn of what exactly I consulted you for, just use this link if you can. If they don't let that reflect in your relationship, right?
mhm.
It doesn't matter, but use it for everything. Use it for everything. I mean, when I first came across SiteGround. SiteGround is one of the hostings that we use. I have made, probably in the first year itself, I have made more than, how much, more than $6,500, just for that, just by referring people to SiteGround, right? Now $6,500 a year is not a big amount, but what I'm trying to say is either way I'm talking to a customer about hosting. Doesn't matter whether I want to do it or not. Now they think, do you recommend something? Yes, I do. I have a very strong recommendations, right? So here one of it, if you buy it, it will give you I don't remember the exact offer, but some discount, and then you will get this in written, right? The key is consistency. You keep on doing that, and don't do it every time, right? This is Everyone is not going to buy everything from you. Just make sure that you have these things set up, these things are ready with you to send, right? My first Google customer was that, Paritosh, can you help me with our emails setting up? And I was like that, I have no clue, I never did that. I immediately, the first thing that I ever looked when somebody told me a tool about is how to become partners with that tool, right? That's how you go about it. So think about affiliates, but always tell people, right? Because other than the big affiliate people, sometimes people get offended that, oh, I do not want to do this, because I mean, they're not going to say it, but they find it, you smart enough or cunning enough that you are using different tactics, or the different ways to make money without telling them. So just tell them upfront, just be, very upfront and honest about it. It will work. It will work slowly, but it will work. And look for the programs which offer recurring commissions.
Okay, we're all interested to find out what is the third item that is not listed.
Oh yeah, I'm working on that because I'm yet to figure that one out.
Okay.
I think I probably missed on that one.
Well, if you're watching, put it in the comments if you have any other forms of recurring revenue, because Paritosh and I could use it, and I'm sure everybody else watching would love to know about it.
Absolutely. And then again, as a part of this whole process, automate the outreach as much as you can and help people. Genuinely help people, right? It is a boomerang, it is going to come back to you in some or the other way, right? But just help people because people need it. And let me tell you, more than people, you need it, right?
Hmm.
So just do it for your own good. If nothing happens, let's say if nothing happens by helping people, it will make at least you feel good, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think that's all in terms of what I have utilized, what I have used, what I've been using regarding my ways to come out of the breaking out the feast and famine cycle. Just keep on doing. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments, drop it in in the Facebook group. If you haven't joined, just go to solodigital.agencyowners.com, join the group, ask these questions. There's no cost attached to it. This is genuine help and nothing else.
Well, thank you for your presentation today, Paritosh. We really appreciate it. If anybody has any questions about how to set up those reoccurring revenues or anything to do with his presentation today, he is making himself available for that free consultation, right? That free
or
offer.
or 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 maybe a foot in the door offer, right? If we end up working together, my reason or my way of helping on this podcast can be one of those exercises of breaking out of my feast and famine cycle, right?
Mhm.
Let me put it that way, if that makes anyone understand it any bit better.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see you next week for a brief overview on Google Analytics 4. It will be my pleasure to show you everything I know on the new Google Analytics and how it is going to make your life easier for tracking events on websites, conversions in advertising, and overall reporting for your customers when you're providing your digital marketing services.
And I am going to help you this week before GA4 actually happens with Anthony, because let me tell you, let me make you mentally prepared. It is a confusing topic, right? So before that happens, I'm going to drop a piece which is going to talk about how you can use GA4 for the best prospecting technique, right? So I'll drop a video about that. Stay tuned and let us know if we're not doing it right, because even we haven't been on the podcast or how, at least I haven't been, I haven't done that in the past. If you are missing something, if you need something changed, if you need something better structured, if you have suggestions, if you have even lashing out, right, do that, do that, please do that.
Have a good night.
Thank you guys, thanks for watching. Bye bye.